Hi and welcome back to the Deep Dive series, and this is our penultimate episode, episode number 27. So as always, taking a deep look at one of the garages from my 300 car musical chill out garage tour, which I will definitely link below, looking in more detail at the real world vehicle that inspired the build that I made. I often cover crew colours, but there are some Pinot crew colours here. Everything you see is just standard GTA stuff and very easy to guess, so I won't be writing that down this time. I don't have a massive number of armoured and armed vehicles, and I have a bit of a dislike of the armoured cars in the game, which I'll come on to in a minute, so everything I have is kept just in the facility, and of course that is really the perfect sort of military environment to keep these vehicles in. And as we roll into the start, I'm going to ask you a little riddle, and it's something I've asked before, so apologies for the repetition. What do you get if you mix a child's mattress, a big pot of glue, and a big can of car spray paint? Well, of course, you get the armour on the side of so many of these cars that goes onto the Armani Tech vehicles. You can have it on that Armoured Paragon, and so on and so forth. I really dislike a child's mattress painted and glued to the side of a car. I think it looks absolutely horrible. And as we start the tour deep dive on the first car, you'll see it has just that mattress on the doors. And if you look at the picture of the real armoured Mercedes that it's based on, you'll see that does not have a mattress glued to the door, and nor does any armoured real car. So I know it's supposed to indicate the armour in the game, but I don't like it. I own this V12 Schafter, the armoured version of the normal V12 Schafter, which I really like as a car. I purely bought it because back at that time, this was the fastest sedan or saloon car that you could buy in the game. And I painted it up very similar to one I'd seen online. So let's take nothing away from this car. It is a Schafter V12. It's as good as a Schafter V12 and a lot of fun. But I say I don't like how it looks. And nowadays you can buy the Reinhardt, which of course was the 3 Series Touring, or the Cinquemila, which was the Quattroporte. You can buy either of those two for the sedan class, not have something silly on the doors, and they're a lot quicker. So ultimately for me, this car unfortunately has no purpose now. I will leave it here, but if I need one more armoured vehicle from a DLC or something, that's the car that will be sold. Moving on to one of my favourite cars from this garage, the Humvee, of course, the Patriot Mil-Spec. Now I've got a full review of this car, including I think 1 or 2 builds, and I have a sneaky preference for my sort of desert tan build to this all black build, but it does look very menacing. I'm going to use this car in the outro because I think it looks cool. Not everybody knows, but it's based on Mil-Spec Automotive's version of the car, and if you watch my full video that will all fall into place and you'll understand. But of course the military Humvee is also very easy to make. I read an article on the C series and that's the one I copied. Anyway, really great car. Moving on now to an absolute must buy, of course, the Nightshark. It's based on the Darts Combat, so I just thought you'd like to see this little bit of their official catalogue for the vehicle. And I've done mine up just like that one in a very plain sort of silvery colour. Now I have this down as a sort of must own in the game. A vehicle that doesn't have any special icon on the map, that gives you tons of protection to drive around in public lobbies. And if, like me, you don't want a mattress on the side of your car, well that's great. Buy all the Armani Tech cars, do them up as real cars, then just use this to get around the place in a public lobby. I think it's just the best solution, to be honest with you. It's not the greatest copy of the Darts Combat, but there we go. I had 3 of them, I ran out of space, so now I've got 2 of them, but highly recommended. As we transit past the Avenger and the Thruster, it's perhaps a good time to remind you that I did what I think is a really good how tour with over 20 aircraft all done up as the real aircraft. I like aircraft in real life and I thought it was pretty good, but hardly anybody's watched it, so I'm going to link it at the end. If you like aircraft and real aircraft, do watch that one. On to the APC, as seen in the intro. It's based on at least 2 different vehicles that you could build. One of them is the Cadillac Gauge Commando, and for variety this year I built mine up just like the one from The Dictator, because that was a movie I'd laughed my way through and enjoyed between the two garage tours is also why we had a gold Nightshark shown in the movie collection as the Dictator one as well. I think this is a really good vehicle. I mean, it's reasonably quick, you can take it on the water, but most importantly, you can have a mate in with you and drive around the public lobby just hurling out explosive shells. And I've done that with Gav, and it was enormous fun, and it was ages before somebody blew us up, or did they even blow us up at all? I can't remember. Really great. Highly recommended, fun bit of kit. And here is another vehicle best enjoyed with friends, the Insurgent Pickup Custom, with a mate sat on top operating the 50 cal. This is enormous fun, but given how exposed they are, it's probably more enormous fun for missions than it would be in free roam. It'll batter anything out the way, it looks cool, and it's based on a real-world vehicle, the Pterodyne Armoured Gurkha RPV. It's a company based in Ontario, I believe, Pterodyne, and it's the one of two in this garage. There's a number of real-world paint schemes you can use. Mine's in a sort of police blue here, but plenty to choose from. And here is another great vehicle. So the PL-01 Stealth Tank Concept. I got to admit, when I bought a Khanjali, I had no idea. I thought it was another futuristic vehicle. In a way it is, because it's a concept, but yeah, a tank using the same sort of stealth technology you would see on B-2 bombers, the angles, the way of deflecting radar, etc. And of course in the game, it's a really enormously fun vehicle, at least for some of the missions. Some of the things you can do with it in there are really good. I'm not enough of a free roamer to tell you how long it would last in free roam, but I don't think it would last as long as some other vehicles. Now to another multi-crew vehicle. One person firing the quad 50mm cannons on top. Awesome fun. One driving, of course. But you could also tow the anti-aircraft trailer, which is in the bunker if you've bought it. It's not terribly expensive. And there's another set of, I think it's quad cannons on that. And you could have the whole lot going around firing like mad. I imagine it's probably even huge fun in free roam. It certainly can trivialise all sorts of missions. It's not terribly quick. It's more something you'd rather call in roughly where you are than drive halfway across the map. But yeah, a very cool vehicle. And finally onto another Pterodyne Gurkha, this time as a closed-top vehicle, the LAPV or the HVY Insurgent. Another great armoured vehicle just for blasting around with in the game, and I was looking for some variety for this build and I found it. There's one, or there was one at least, for sale in the States, like this, black with red wheels. And inside it's been all converted with a minibar and a big Apple TV and all sorts of things, and weighs about 8.5 tons all up, has an enormous engine and an enormous fuel tank that probably doesn't last very long. But yeah, I like them in the game and they look really cool in real life. So that completes the armoured vehicles, and I hope you found something in here to perhaps inspire a different build on your own ones, or that you enjoyed. I don't have a massive amount of future plans for this garage, unlike most of them. I would like to put this one back to a Mil-Spec automotive one in a really cool real-world colour. I say the Mercedes may go one day, and I'd like to rebuild one or two of the others and certainly bring back some desert tan paintwork. But otherwise I don't foresee many changes here. Where of course I do foresee a change is in our Sunday afternoon / evening video, because there's only the one episode of Deep Dive left, that being the classic cars. So I'm going to go back on Sundays now to doing build videos, of course, very much like the midweek ones I usually manage to get out as well. So, as I always say, if there's something you'd really like me to build, let me know down below, and it can be either name a GTA car and just ask me if there's a fun real-world build for that car, or name a real-world build that you think there's at least a reasonable chance of making, and let me get on and make it. I'm not the fastest. I know some people are like, where's this car I asked for? But they do go on a list, and they do get done at some point, unless I really just feel I cannot do them at all. Before I go, as well as self-promoting my hangar tour, which will pop up at the end, I'm also going to self-promote the movie tour, because again, the garage tour seems to garner thousands of views, but the movie car one also I think is just a few hundred. So if you haven't seen that already, that would be great. And then if it garners any interest beyond the few minutes it takes, then there is also a deep dive for it as well. Before I go, a quick reminder that every 2 weeks we're doing a car meet on a Sunday, varying the times a bit to try and get people. Last one worked very well. We had about 5 people. We had some fun chat, sold some discontinued cars to each other, and did a bit of racing, and even looked into 1 or 2 garages as well. So quite good fun. The next one should be next Sunday, the 28th, as long as everything aligns. So look out for the details for that. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.